Time for another From the Field interview with Latham Seeds, and Mark Grunmeyer is joining us again from Latham. Hey, Mark, how's your afternoon going?
Liz, it's going real well. Been very, very good today.
Well, this week has been a heated one. The humidity is really up there, and I guess that's going to take us into our first topic this week. We're going to talk about soybean aphids, and they're not a lot of pressure showing up, but it's only going to be a matter of days, and it's really going to start popping, and those soybean aphids are going to start taking a hold. So we talked about the importance of walking the fields last week and making sure to stay on top of monitoring the fields and seeing what's out there for insect pressure. What else do our farmers need to be looking for this week?
Well, it's always good to keep their eyes open for any disease, any insects that are going on in your fields throughout the whole growing season. In last week's Latham crop report, we noticed that some soybean aphids are just being spotted in several fields. It's not a widespread epidemic by any means, but there's several fields across the 6-state marketing territory that we work in that are showing signs of aphids. The big thing is because those winged females are really fertile without mating, and they also bear living young in soybean fields, that soybean population can double every 2 or 3 days, Liz.
What is the threshold for treating the soybean aphids?
Well, we like to use the most widely recommended threshold, which is 250 aphids per plant, and that's on 80% of the plants in the field, and that population should be on the rise before you pull the trigger and go ahead and spray. And we like to see guys out there, scouting those fields all the way through pod set. It's really important to keep a close watch on those numbers, as the aphid populations can really reach threshold in just a few days. Populations can vary greatly from one field to the next, even on the same farm. So it's really important not to just base it on your neighbor's farm or even one of your own fields that's far away from another. You really need to be scouting everywhere.
And when you say scouting, is there a better way or a best way to be spotting these soybean aphids?
Yeah, the best way really is to go out in your field and walk in either a broad U pattern or an X pattern, and do it throughout the whole field. You need to examine about 20 to 30 plants across that field. Keep in mind that aphids can occur in hot spots, so it's important not to make your decision based on just one spot in that field. Pick a plant at random, count the aphids, start at the bottom of the plant, work your way up. Be really cautious about looking at the undersides of the leaves and the newest vegetation, because that's where they like to colonize. Early in the season, where we are right now, aphids tend to colonize on the newer vegetation, usually at the top of the plant. Later in the season, they can go towards the lower part of the canopy, so be aware of that as well.
You talked about earlier in the season where we are now, and then later in the season. But this season kind of seems odd. What are we looking at, being as how our season for planting was so varied?
Yeah, no question about that. Varying stages of soybean growth and development out there in a lot of different fields. That combined with the many different replants that we've got going on throughout the area, it's going to be a very interesting year, not just for aphids, but for all scouting as well. Varying soybean growth stages throughout the state, and even your own different fields of your neighbors, could mean more than just one application of insecticide could be necessary. So it's important that the farmers out there keep scouting those fields, continue scouting past even your first insecticide application. Just keep a track of them and keep watch.
Okay, so we're scouting our fields and counting aphid population, then making sure when it's time to spray the insecticide if it's warranted. What else do our farmers need to do to control these pests?
Well, one of the things that we like to recommend for aphids especially is a seed treatment. Our experience indicates that soybeans treated with our Latham Soy Shield Plus, now that's a fungicide plus an insecticide at planting, that seed treatment has experienced lower aphid populations, plus we seem to get a delayed infestation, which provides a longer window of application. So basically, in some fields where in a normal year without a seed treatment that has an insecticide in it, you might have to spray twice. What we're seeing is one spraying is usually adequate. Another benefit of ordering Latham brand soybeans with Soy Shield Plus is that farmers can qualify for our 100% replant program. So if you're placing your 2016 seed order, make sure you ask your Latham dealer about this 100% replant program that we have.
Okay, so we know that seed treatment can help to protect the soybean seeds and seedlings from disease and insect damage. Mark, anything else that you want for our farmers when selecting their soybean seeds?
Well, Liz, in my opinion, seed selection is the number one most important factor to achieving higher soybean yields. Farmers need to manage a number of stress factors. We've been talking about diseases, insects, soybean cyst nematodes, all those things. Well, fortunately, many of those stress factors can be managed through careful variety selection. And to help make it easier, Latham Seeds designates our most defensive soybean products as being ironclad. And these defensive soybeans are also very high yielding. In fact, 6 different ironclad soybean brands from Latham placed number 1 in the 2014 first trials.
We've really taken a lot of information this week about soybean aphids, scouting, and how we're going to treat them going forward. Mark, anything else you want to add for our farmers this week?
Well, certainly. As always, just remember agronomic tips and any information that we have of value to farmers is posted daily, every single day on thefieldposition.com, which is our blog. Every Wednesday, they can get an update on how crop development is progressing throughout our 6-state marketing area. And on Fridays, we feature stories about foods and families. It just takes a few minutes to read the daily blog, and you can also get a news feed through our company's Facebook page as well.
Again, thefieldposition.com is where you can find that daily blog, and make sure to check out Latham's website, www.lathamseeds.com. Mark, thanks so much for joining us this week.
Absolutely, Liz. Thank you very much.